Today, I'm going to talk about something I wish I understood decades ago, something that would have completely changed the way I worked, loved, parented, and even lived. Don't waste your life living someone else's version of it. Here's the wild thing, most of us aren't living our lives. We're living a reaction to other people's lives, our parents, our culture, our traditions, our expectations, and our fears. Fear of disappointing others, fear of starting over, fear that it's too late. And that fear, that quiet, polite fear, is how most people waste their lives. Not by failing, but by never fully living enough to fail. When I was in my 20s, I thought life was a race. Everyone around me seemed to be sprinting, getting promotions, buying houses, getting married, having kids, and building lives that seemed perfect from the outside. But here's what no one tells you. If you're running on the wrong track, then speed really doesn't matter. By my 30s, I was drained and exhausted. I was successful on paper, but I was empty on the inside. You see, I had checked every single box except the one that mattered the most. Does this feel like me? It took me 40 years, a lot of self-reflection, journaling, and quiet moments to realize that I was living a life designed for approval and not for alignment. Here's what I realized. Most of us were raised to inherit habits, beliefs, and fears that aren't even ours. We inherit family trauma designed as personality. We inherit scarcity mindset, perfectionism, and people-pleasing, and we think it's just who we are. But it's not. It's just programming. And the danger is, if you never pause long enough to question the code, you're going to spend your entire life running someone else's script. But here's the good news. Awareness is the first line of rewiring. When you name what you've inherited, you choose what you want to continue. So I started asking myself one simple but hard question. What part of my life feels like me, and what part feels like it was borrowed? And when I answered that honestly, it shook me. I realized that I had built a life around what was expected, not what was authentic. That realization was painful, but it's also liberating because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And you can start small to make changes, one decision, one boundary, and one conversation at a time. And that's how you start living your life and not the one that you were told to live. For years, I said yes to everything, every project, every social gathering, every opportunity, and everything that made me feel validated. I told myself I was being helpful, driven, grateful. But in reality, I was just afraid. Afraid of being seen as lazy, ungrateful, or selfish. And as a first-generation immigrant, those are all the labels that I was trying hard to avoid. Then one day, I asked myself, if my kids watch me live like this, then what will they learn? Would they learn selflessness or self-neglect? That's when I decided that something had to change, and I started saying no. Not because I didn't care, but because I finally did. There's this moment in your 40s when life gets quiet enough that you can actually hear yourself think. And sometimes what you hear isn't pretty. You realize how much time you've spent trying to prove yourself to people who weren't even paying attention. You realize that the perfect life that you were chasing was never yours to begin with. But here's the beautiful part. It's not too late. You can decide that today's the day that you stop living reactively and you start living intentionally. Every habit that you change, every boundary that you set, every truth that you speak, that's a form of healing. That's how you stop the cycle. Look back at what you've inherited, every emotional pattern, money habits, and communication styles, and trace it. Ask yourself, where did this come from? And if it's not serving you, then you get to rewrite it. Be brutally honest about what's not working. Face it. Don't numb it. Don't distract yourself with busyness. Sit in it long enough to understand it and accept it, because clarity sits on the other side of discomfort. Once you know what's broken, start building new defaults. Replace it. Gratitude instead of guilt, presence instead of performance, courage instead of control. That's how you stop wasting time, you stop wasting your life, not by doing more, but by doing what matters more. And you know what I've realized? It's not that we don't have time. It's just that we spend it trying to be understood by people who were never meant to understand us. We spend it trying to fit into stories that were never written for us. But your 40s and your 50s, they can be your prime years if you start living awake. Because peace doesn't come from getting everything right. It comes from being okay with who you are, even if no one claps. So here's my message to you. Don't waste your life trying to prove your worth. Don't waste it carrying pain that isn't yours. And don't waste it for the perfect time. Because the perfect time is the moment that you realize this. You were never behind. You were just getting started. Thank you for watching, my friends. And remember, the life you want is not found by doing more. It's found by becoming more you. See you in the next one.